Welcome to Bytechats, a monthly vodcast keeping you on top of what's going on in the world of Gen Z marketing. Every month, we invite 3 Fanbyters to share their favorite Gen Z related insight, trend, or marketing campaign from the past few weeks. We dive into why these campaigns are newsworthy, what makes the trend so scroll stopping, and what tips you can pick up from brands that are doing it particularly well. So this month we have Jacqui, Harry, and Sarah. So if you guys could introduce yourself, starting with Harry.
Hey, my name's Harry. I'm the Senior Brand Partnerships Manager in the Music and Entertainment Pod at Fanbytes.
And Jacqui?
Hi, my name's Jacqui. I'm the Senior Account Manager in the Fashion and Beauty team, so running and managing really cool campaigns for fashion and beauty brands.
Great. And Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah. I am the People and Culture Partner at Fanbytes, so I'm in the operations team, do everything HR.
Perfect. Okay, so Sarah, I think I'm going to come to you first. So what's your top insight or campaign this month?
Yes, so I have really noticed that veggie vegan brands are really not on TikTok or not doing much activation on there. Being vegetarian myself, I'm always kind of looking at vegan bloggers, vegan kind of like activists or kind of pages that are into that. There's quite a lot on Instagram, but a lot haven't transitioned over to TikTok. And I think they're missing a mark. Brands kind of like This Isn't, Corn, Beyond Meat, they could be doing so much over there. I think it's something like, I can't remember the stat now, but like basically like a vegetarian diet is like most appealing to Gen Z and millennials. So when you think with that going on, that like brands will be kind of trying to tap into that demographic through TikTok. And it's not like they're not doing stuff on socials. I think Beyond Meat has like 1 million followers on Instagram. I think it's about transitioning that kind of content over and making it kind of really appealing to a Gen Z audience over there. So that's kind of what I think is kind of quite interesting, what maybe brands could be missing out on at the moment.
Yeah, that's really interesting, especially considering, as you said, that Gen Z are often, well, when research is done, quoted as wanting to be more sustainable, environmentally conscious. I think this week actually Meat Free Monday is trending.
Yeah, Meat Free Monday, and then you've got things like Veganuary and things like that coming up. So like there's lots of scope, I think, for brands to be moving over and kind of doing some bits on TikTok.
Yeah, so from kind of all of your perspectives, like why do you think it is that food and drink brands haven't, and I would say it's maybe across the board a little bit as well, that food and drink doesn't seem to have taken off on TikTok quite as much as I would say like fashion and beauty has. So do you think there's a reason for that? Have they just been a bit slow on the uptake, or are they still trying to find their place? Yeah, it'd be good to hear from just any of you.
Yeah, I definitely think they're missing a trick because, like you say, it hasn't become as synonymous with TikTok as like beauty and fashion, but some of the biggest trends, especially during lockdown, but at least in the last 12 months, have been like food-related trends, like pasta chips or the feta pasta trends, and a lot of like how-to recipe kind of based stuff. And I think even the issue that I have as someone who wants to reduce my meat intake and wants to eat more vegan, more vegetarian throughout the week, sometimes I just don't know the recipes, or I don't know, hey, I want to make chicken tikka masala, but what's the best veggie alternative? There's a huge kind of amount of content that could be made there to inform people like myself who want to cut down, but don't know the products really on how to. It would fit really well on TikTok. So yeah, I think they're missing a trick.
Yeah,
I agree.
Jacqui, do you agree?
Yeah, I definitely agree. I remember during lockdown, there was this chef called, I think her name was Tabitha Brown, and she was a mum, and I don't think she was an influencer, but she sort of started posting out loads of really cool vegan friendly like meals, and then she blew up, and I think she got signed to an agency and became an influencer. And I was like, that's absolutely amazing, but I don't think there's enough of her. There's not enough people who are sort of out there doing that. And as Harry said, I think so many of us want to be more sort of health conscious, and we want to know about just how to make our food more healthy. So I think it's just maybe there aren't enough people out there who can really create engaging content or know how to really kickstart it, or just really present it in a different way. I think that might be it, because some of the stuff I've noticed with fashion and beauty, it's all about sort of changing the way you advertise. It's not the same as Instagram, or it's not the same as YouTube. You just need to find either a new niche or a new way to present it to your audience. So it could be that they're just, people are still trying to find out what could work, and then once it takes off, it takes off.
I think just to chime in, I think there's a lot of like really good ambassadors that people could use there. Like I shared with the music team this week, like my favorite new influencer that I've just found, and it's like a rapping chef who raps all the recipes.
Oh my God, I love
brands could
that.
like enroll them in as brand ambassadors to create their content.
Name? What's his
Let's get them on board.
Yeah.
I think it might have just been the rapping chef. I will find it.
Because like recipe stuff works really, really well on TikTok. I think like Morrison's have quite an active TikTok page, and they basically just surround it with like recipes, and they've had influencers as well. I think there's a guy called like Willie Cooks or something like that, and he does all stuff with Morrison's, and actually like that could work really, really well for like veggie vegan brands. They kind of create some recipes surrounding that. Like loads of like that stuff works really well on like other platforms. I think that's a good starter for them.
Yeah, definitely. We actually did a food and drink guide for Fanbytes recently. So just promoting that essentially there.
That's great.
But in that there were quite a few ideas that we did sort of put forward as things that brands could tap into. So definitely around September, we found things that were trending were like kind of organization, inspiration. So, I think meal prep was trending for a couple of weeks, and that was like one of the biggest hashtags, which is probably from people going back to the office, going back to uni or school and wanting to kind of prep their lunches or their kids' lunches for the week. And then also even things like food ASMR and how that's becoming a thing. And like, there's just so many interesting niche trends that vegan brands could tap into, as well as just the normal education piece as well. Because I think one of the bits of research that we found as well when we were doing this report was, well, one, that a lot of Gen Z want to eat healthier and they want to eat more sustainably and eat less meat. But like you were saying, Harry, they don't necessarily have the information to know, and they often get confused by conflicting messages they've said about like what's healthy and what's not. And then also something that I saw this week was some research that was done in America, I think, that found that Gen Z are much more likely to say that they eat less meat, but in actual fact, they are eating more meat than the older generations. So it's like this gap between like what they think they're doing and what their intention is and what they are actually doing. And so and the research was kind of saying there's probably two reasons, in that you always want to act more virtuous than you actually are. Yeah. But also there might be a case of that their knowledge of it, like they actually think that they aren't eating much meat when they are. So they almost think, oh, I'm being great because I don't eat meat on a Monday, but then I'm eating meat 5 days a week more than actually my grandparents were. So there's loads of things like that I think that vegan brands could tap into.
I think there's also like the comedic side of it as well, like comedy stuff and like really like fun, engaging content works like so well on TikTok. And I think it's the This Isn't brand have like started doing it before. Like they've kind of said like they've done like a clip and it'll be like, this isn't the Crown, and it'll be like a mock-up of the Queen's speech, or like this isn't Ed Sheeran, they do like a mock-up of Ed Sheeran. And I feel like that works so well. Like so many more brands could like do things like that. And like the Oatly, for example, the Oatly out of home adverts are so funny when they're kind of like, they're quite like kind of like sarcastic or ironic, and that could like work really well in a comedic sense.
And have you guys seen any, or Sarah first, any brands that actually are doing well and are kind of, ahead of the crowd when it comes to their marketing, any vegan brands specifically?
I haven't seen any vegan ones specifically, I think, ahead of the brand. I've seen a lot of them on Instagram, but not particularly on TikTok. I really just don't, as far as I can see, I've seen like many of them on TikTok at all. I think it's a shame because obviously, as we said, like food brands can go over, like Harry mentioned all the crazes before, and like Little Moons do it really, really well as well. So actually like there's definitely space for it, but as far as I've seen, there's success on Instagram, but not on TikTok yet.
Have Harry or Jacqui, have you seen any vegan brands that you think are doing better than others?
No, same as Sarah, really. I haven't seen any on TikTok at all, and definitely missing a trick. And I think I'm seeing a few influencers sort of popping up here and there, but no brands to really like back them or support them. So hopefully we'll start to see something change soon. Okay,
so with Veganuary kind of coming up and Christmas and big like foodie events, just coming to each of you, do you have a piece of advice that you would kind of give to a vegan brand that maybe right now only has like a few hundred followers on TikTok and they don't really know how to like get to that next level. They're not really producing content that's engaging. So yeah, Harry, do you have what would be like your one tip for them?
The influencer I found was @_Mr. Pyrex. So my one tip is
just
hire _Mr. Pyrex to be
Okay.
an ambassador and grow your channel with his viral content. And that would be my top tip.
That's a good, to be fair, I like a specific tip sometimes. So yeah. Jacqui, do you have one?
Love that, by the way, Harry. My tip would be sort of similar, yeah, like tap into those influencers that are doing well, like the chef that I mentioned, Tabitha Brown. Like she was a mum who just went viral and her videos are doing well. But also there was a stat that said within sort of fashion and beauty, how-to videos receive the most engagement. So they could sort of do the same thing. So how to like vegan videos and how to make a certain food or make it more healthy could be the way in. So I think, yeah, tutorials or like how to seem to be a really good way for engaging Gen Z. So if they could start off with that and see how it grows, yeah, we never know what could happen.
Yeah, great. And Sarah, finally, do you have a tip?
I feel like I'm not really the expert on account growth compared to these guys, but I would just say read the Fanbytes food guide. And I think that will really be the answer to everything.
Great. Okay, perfect. And Harry, coming to you next.
Great. Do you want me to dive straight in?
Yeah, just go. What's your insight?
Cool. So I mean, I've got another negative as well, so kind of similar to Sarah's, but this is kind of my favorite, but also the worst campaign that I've seen recently and the biggest backlash. So I was at home a few weeks ago and I got a push notification from Reddit about the new series of Dexter that's coming out. And knowing Reddit, I knew I was in for a bit of a surprise when I was diving into the comments, and I knew it'd be good fun. And I mean, I can't even read half of these comments out on the bite chat. I don't think we're allowed to swear on here. But there's people saying, I'm absolutely not going to watch this just because of this notification. I'm going to delete Reddit and download a new app. Like, why am I here? Why did Reddit send me this? Someone actually said it's the second worst plague of the year, which is like just the scale of overreaction that Reddit users have to like forced branding and marketing being shoved down their throats, which is a really interesting way of like how different cultures and communities react depending on what platform they're on. Yeah. I imagine this exact same ad, if it popped up as an Instagram ad, would have just been another Instagram ad. It would have just been accepted and scrolled past and not thought about any longer. So I think there's a couple of things to think about, both like how we're engaging with different communities on different social platforms, but also like the backlash that this has caused. Like, because this hasn't been thought through, it's potentially damaged their brand more than it has helped it. And I think that's happened with most brands who have tried to activate a campaign on Reddit. The like Ask Me Anything AMAs have gone down in history for being notoriously awful. Like James Corden's was absolutely terrible. There was various film stars who've done Ask Me Anything about my new movie coming up. Yeah. And they've just received backlash for like, hey, can we ask you something that's not about you trying to promote your new movie? Yeah. So yeah, that was my interesting insight of the week. Just being cautious of how you engage with different communities. And also kind of as a side note to that, I think TikTok is providing a really open space for engagement and brands are doing it really, really well. I've just seen this week, like McDonald's changing their logo on all their social pages, and I think IKEA, Adobe, all doing the same because of one influencer redesigning their logo.
The terrible logos.
Is that the graphic designer? Yeah, I've seen that. It's so funny.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I think like they're engaging with TikTok in a way that's true to the community. They're going off the back of what the community is doing and doing it really authentically, and it really works. Yeah. Whereas getting a push notification on Reddit is the antithesis of the community, and it's not engaging. And that's how campaigns backlash, regardless of what platform.
So just in case people aren't really familiar with Reddit, like what do you mean exactly by a push notification on the platform?
Sure. So Reddit is known as like the front page of the internet. It's a collection of forums and fan communities and threads it's kind of like a huge, giant online chat room with a lot of people commenting, engaging with each other and talking about popular new topics. So the push notification was just delivered through a notification on a phone, like you would get for someone dropping you a direct message on Instagram. So this isn't true to what Reddit is. You don't really get push notifications from Reddit unless you get a reply to your own comment or your own post. So a company that's doing it really well is actually Xbox that I've seen. I mean, this is because I'm part of that community, I'm seeing that. But Xbox are replying to people's comments in threads with stuff that is meaningful, and they're using Reddit like a Redditor.
Yeah.
Like these brands who are performing well on TikTok, they're using TikTok like a TikToker. They're using Instagram like an Instagrammer, and they're using it like it's true to the platform. So yeah, that would be my tip, I suppose, in a sentence, is to use the platforms you're activating on as if you're a user of those platforms yourself.
Yeah. And who, I don't do either of, I mean, Harry, you obviously use Reddit. Jacqui and Sarah, do you use Reddit much at all?
I can't actually say I do. I've never been like that into Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes if there's like backlash on something and I want to know what's going on, I'll go on Reddit and read.
I'm really embarrassed that the only thing I really used Reddit for was for Real Housewives chat. So for like reactions to the episodes, I go and read all the comments on like, do you like the new housewife or something? And then I go and read all of those. But I mean, maybe this is a stereotype, but my stereotype is that it is quite male dominated on Reddit.
Yeah, the demographics are definitely male skewed, and it's kind of the older end of Gen Z and younger millennials. So it's kind of mid-20s males, which I fit in exactly, is the general demographic. But like I say, there's different communities on there. So it depends what community you're engaging with and who the people in that community are. So you can definitely target fans of Real Housewives. You can target people who are into fashion, beauty, just depending on the communities that you engage with.
Yeah. So how would you, other than push notifications, do you think, because something about a push notification on a phone, I don't know, but it feels a bit like invasive in a way that even seeing an Instagram ad, we're really used to that, and you have to go into the platform to actually see the ad, but something that comes up as a notification on my phone feels a little bit more invasive. So what are there other ways for brands to tap into Reddit's audiences?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. It doesn't matter what platform it is, it's still going to be intrusive and invasive. But I mean, TikTok have actually experimented with it a lot. I get notifications like, hey, Ed Sheeran's going live on TikTok right now.
Yeah.
And sometimes I find that less intrusive than the Reddit example. So it's really difficult area of nuance. I think the also difficult thing with Reddit is that I don't think there's a paid approach to Reddit. So I don't think there's a, hey, put this much spend behind something and you'll succeed. It really is about community engagement. Whereas obviously you can kind of pay to win on a lot of different platforms, depending on how you're accessing it. So yeah, I think there's just different ways to approach different platforms organically.
And is there such a thing as like a Reddit influencer right now, or are there influencers on Reddit that brands could work with? Or do you think that, again, just because of the nature of the platform, and it's almost like anonymous often, isn't it? So
yeah, absolutely. So you don't, it's kind of very democratized. And I suppose the message I'm trying to say is more like, take the learnings from Reddit off Reddit onto your different platforms where you can tap into influencers and creators. So learn the mistakes, what people are making on Reddit, and apply that to your TikTok, apply it to your Instagram. Like learn the communities that you're engaging with. Even if it's your local community and you're doing a marketing campaign in the middle of Shoreditch, know that community and know how they'll react to it, depending on whether it's on what platform or whereabouts in the world it is.
Yeah. Cool. And have they responded to it? Have has the people who did the ad, was it, so it was for the Dexter show? What was?
Yeah, I haven't seen any response, but the usual response from anyone with a bad marketing campaign is just to kind of hide.
Yeah. Fire the agency.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Great. Well, and then finally on to Jacqui. What are you chatting about this month?
So just generally how beauty brands are sort of changing the way they win the hearts of TikTok users or Gen Z. So I've noticed over the past year when beauty sort of started to like really boom on TikTok, it was all about sort of educational videos. So it'd be like, show the product, these are the benefits, it's amazing, blah, blah, blah. They'll apply it and then it's sort of done. But now there's a lot of like shock tactics, comedies being used a lot, and there are quite a few like brands that I really, really enjoy watching their content, such as Glow Recipe and Huda Beauty. So Huda Beauty will post like some like really crazy videos. They'll have people doing really weird challenges. Like there was one I saw recently where a girl picked out different coloured Skittles, and each colour she would apply to her face. So she'd pick out like a red Skittle and get some red makeup and then an orange one. And it was just a really crazy masterpiece at the end. But that sort of stuff really, really engages. And it's really interesting because I compare it to Paula's Choice, who go down the more sort of educational route. Their content's great. It looks really, really good, but it's just very, very sort of same old, same old. So it's just been really interesting to see how I feel like the brands that have really gone down the like really shocking or like comedic route have blown up, and the ones who have sort of continued with the educational sort of route are probably not growing as quickly as the others. And then I saw a really interesting stat recently from Glow Recipe. They tend to do this weird thing where they give all of their products like faces. So you may have seen like videos where they'll have like eyes and lips on their products, and the products will talk and they'll have personalities, and it's just really funny. And they basically said that 90% of their e-commerce traffic on TikTok comes from first-time consumers, which is really cool because they didn't really go down the educational route. They sort of went down a really like weird and wonderful, funny route. And yeah, it's obviously tapped into a really new audience and they're gaining a lot of sales from it. So it's just really interesting to see that it's not just the typical, really nice aesthetic stuff that people do on Instagram that works. It's all about sort of just, changing up and finding a new niche and actually just doing something a bit out of the box that seems to work really well for beauty, which didn't really work on, I would say, Instagram before. I think when brands would try things a little bit out of the box like that on Instagram, it'd be like, this is weird, what's this? We just pretty picture, people explaining the product and that's it. But now it's like, we want the crazy, weird and wonderful stuff.
It's quite amazing actually, like thinking of just how much TikTok has actually changed beauty and fashion content and advertising. But some of the stuff that I see brands posting, I'm like, I just would never, you could never have imagined them posting something like that a year ago. And but Sarah and Harry, have you got any favorite brands, skincare brands on TikTok that you follow? Particularly interested in whether there's any male skincare brands that are actually doing the same kind of innovative TikTok marketing as the female brands.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure. The only I normally get like skincare brands via like podcasts, really. I haven't seen many on TikTok, although I don't follow many. And the only one I use, I guess, is like Nivea, which is the basic guy one, right?
Really basic boy, Harry.
Yeah, exactly. Totally basic. So actually, I don't know what Nivea are doing on TikTok, and I don't follow any skincare brands. The only amazing skincare stuff I see on TikTok is obviously Jacqui's work with us.
I was going to say, Jacqui, in terms of like what the fashion and beauty team have been doing, is what have been some of the campaigns that you think have stood out that did really well in using these in using TikTok as a platform?
So it's definitely quite a few. I think Origins is one. So they were a brand that had never used TikTok before. So when they came to us, they were like, we really want to sort of target Gen Z. We want to be seen as like a really young and fun and cool brand. We don't want to be seen as like your mum's brand, that sort of thing. So we really just started like coming up with really like creative ideas around like people, using products in like weird ways. We had people like testing different things out on their skin and taking it off. We had a challenge which involved sort of like showing your family and like using products from your family. We've done a recent one with Clinique where people are giving their boyfriends or their partners like spa treatment at home and like using it on them and seeing how they react to it. So it's just really, really funny and it's quite out of the box and it's doing really well. And also ASMR as well. That's a new thing we're trying out with a few brands. And people love it. Whereas I think before, if you tried that, it would have been like, this is really strange. Like, why are we watching people tapping on products or like, opening something really slowly, but it seems to work quite well. So yeah.
I also really love all the kind of original sounds that brands are creating for beauty brands in particular. I think it was I think Makeup Revolution as well have done a really good job of, I think they were the ones who did a big like we want to find a TikTok creator to be like the face of our brand. And then they sort of created like an original sound alongside that people would do their makeup look using that sound. So I really like them. And actually just pushing another one of our Fanbytes guides, the 15 Challenger Beauty Brands on TikTok. But one of the things when I was writing that was I looked at like what the brand personality was. So one of the things we kind of said at Fanbytes is like, you should almost think of your brand as if it was like a creator of creating something on TikTok, and like what kind of thing would you be posting? And if it wouldn't feel natural to your brand as if it was a person, then you shouldn't be posting it. So it was like, you know, Isla were like the entertainer, Glossier were like ultimate Gen Z girl, Milk Makeup were the cool girl, and they all sort of keep the ones that are doing really well, and Glow Recipe were in there as well. I think they were like the fairy princess or something, but they were sort of like, they all really keep their brand, like it's so consistent. So even though they do experiment with all these different formats and they do something silly one day and then something that actually is a bit more informative, but it's always like still really in keeping with their brand and how they speak and how they interact with their audiences. So yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And then, so also just one thing, last time we spoke about in Bytechats a little bit about like acne positivity and skincare positivity. So do you think that's something that brands, Jacqui, need to kind of take into account, the change in what Gen Z actually want to see from the brands and their influencers when it comes to skincare?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's one thing I was actually going to mention. I think before it was sort of like, you can show a product, but show the product on someone that has nice skin. You know, don't show their flaws. They need to look perfect. Either if it's, you know, an ad on TV or a model skin will look perfect. But on TikTok, people really want to see, you know, how good this product really is. So there's a lot of content where people are pimple popping or like, you know, showing you their pores and like really squeezing stuff. And normally you really wouldn't want to see it, but it's like Gen Z are just calling for the truth. They want to see, like, does it really work? What's going to happen if we use it? So yeah, definitely. I know we had a campaign with Clinique recently where they said, can you find us people that actually have acne and show us, or show their acne on TikTok? And I would say over the last couple of months, there's a lot of influencers now doing that, whereas previously people wouldn't really show their skin that wasn't perfect or, you know, really smooth. So yeah, I think they definitely need to tap into just authentic, truthful content that shows people's that real skin. Really, people want to see skin that looks like theirs. They don't want to see like, you know, anything filtered or anything that doesn't look real. So yeah, definitely. I think that's good.
And is that mainly the newer kind of Gen Z brands? Then I mean, yeah, is that the case with sort of your more established like Dior, Charlotte Tilbury? Like, are they still quite filtered, perfect versus the kind of newer Gen Z Starface, Glossier? Yeah, is that what you're seeing as well?
Yeah, 100%. So I think all the newer brands, the sort of Gen Z focused brands, are really just going out of the box. So they're really tapping into all these really creative things, really like shocking things as well. And they're just trying to sort of just hit Gen Z where they can. Whereas some of the more established brands are sort of taking a while, but I think they're getting there. So I went on a page recently, I think it was Huda Beauty, and they would typically sort of show like really, really like pretty stuff, and they had a picture of someone's foot with really, really dry skin, and they were sort of showing how one of their products could like help, you know, get rid of the dry skin, but it was just horrible. It was like really flaky, and it was crazy because it just drew you in. As soon as you saw it, you were like, I need to click on this, what is it? But I was thinking, wow, like they typically wouldn't, you know, post things like that, but it's definitely changing.
It is weird how if I saw that on Instagram, I think I'd be like, oh, whereas seeing it on TikTok, I'd be like, yes, I want to watch this.
click. But then the other
I think also I was going to say, like, younger Gen Z brands as well, like skincare brands, I feel like they really explain their products, and they have like loads of skinfluencers that will go into like the depths of like what each thing is doing, which I think is so much more informative than kind of often like more traditional, like maybe like higher end, what we call higher end brands.
Yeah,
you don't really know sometimes what's going on and things like that. So I think we had a skinfluencer on one of our campaigns recently. I don't know which one it was on, Jacqui, but it was like a guy who was doing skin
thanks
in the background. think some of the like younger, like more Gen Z, millennial kind of beauty brands are doing a bit more of like kind of the informative style of skincare as well, and kind of giving a bit more information about what each product does. Like The Ordinary, for example, it's really, really informative. Glossier as well, I would say, is really, really informative. And it's kind of like the rise of skinfluencers as well. And I think they're so much more appealing to like younger generations. You know what's going on your face, you know what's going into everything, and the importance of it all, than like more higher end brands. It's often you don't know what's in the product, so it's completely kind of different. There's no kind of explanation there. And I think skinfluencers make it skincare and like the world of beauty more kind of approachable and appealing to kind of the masses, rather than just kind of people that are just into beauty. So I think that's really interesting. And I know we had a skinfluencer on one of our campaigns recently. I can't remember which one, but I think their content was like really, really, really cool, really like high energy as well.
Actually, going to say on that as well, it really surprised me when speaking to you a while ago, Jacqui, and you was talking about how a lot of the content creators for like skincare brands, they want the products so far in advance because they want to try that out for like 3-4 weeks before they even get involved. So I think it's a really amazing thing that a lot of these skinfluencers are actually like super conscious. They're not just accepting payment and promoting whatever they're being paid for. Like, they're super conscious of what's good and giving actual good advice, which I thought was quite unique, and I hadn't heard that before, like in relation to other brands or products. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really good point. With I would say every other sort of industry or niche, there's not much sort of focus on like what's in this product. I don't want to put it on my face unless I know it works. And we've had a few campaigns go live where we'll like go through the comments and people will say things like, tell me exactly what's in this, or I really want to know, can you mix this product with this product, or does this ingredient sort of give me this? Or we'll work with dermatologists and they'll say, can you give me a recommendation for like dry skin, or if I use this with I don't know, something that contains certain acid, how's my skin going to react? And people will actually ask those questions, and then some of our influencers will reply, and then we'll see comments saying, great, I've just purchased this, thank you, or you know, you made me do it. And it's amazing to see. And I think one key thing about Gen Z is you can't really fool them, that they're really conscious about what they're putting on their face, what's in it. If they feel like, you know, someone's told them something different, or they're getting conflicting advice about products, they will say it in the comments, and we'll have to take that back to the brands and say, wow, we've received some really cool insight, maybe we can take this information and use it to turn another campaign or create another strategy from it or something like that. So yeah, I think it's really cool. And brands such as like Fenty, they're doing like beauty houses now. You know, TikTok houses before were really cool, but they've started things where it's just specific beauty content creators, which creates like another element of like how you can really just push beauty to new people. Yeah, cool.
Okay, amazing. And then finally, just a couple of really quick questions, just because obviously this week it's been announced that TikTok are rolling out and expanding their TikTok shopping feature, which is super interesting, and especially for us at Fanbytes and what we do. So I think it would be great to just hear from, especially I guess Harry and Jacqui, just because you actually work on the kind of campaigns, like what element do you think that is going to add to your campaigns that you do with any clients, and what the opportunities are for brands and influencers as well. So maybe Jacqui first.
Yeah, sure. So I remember I saw a couple months ago, I think, Glow Recipe that I was just talking about had already sort of added that section. So when you go on their TikTok, you can obviously see their content, and the next tab is like the shopping tab. They've not added any videos yet, but they were straight in there. And I think it's going to add an amazing opportunity, because a lot of beauty brands are going viral, a lot of trends are going viral, and it would just be an amazing, you know, element to be like, okay, we've gone viral, people can shop that product instantly, or, you know, be able to sort of track things really, really quickly from that. But I also think it's just another way for them to sort of see that Instagram isn't the only way to convert. I think a lot of brands sometimes are hesitant to jump on TikTok because they think that, you know, Instagram's a bit more established, you know, they know exactly how to use it and all the different features, but with TikTok it's a bit sort of, you know, unknown to them. But I think this will just continue to show brands that, you know, there is a lot of scope to sell, and, you know, it is a conversion platform. You know, we run ads really well for brands, but this is just another element and another layer that can really push out sales. So yeah, I'm super excited for it.
Cool. And Harry, do you have anything to add as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting what you're talking about, how creative TikTok is as a actual platform for users early, because I find it's really creative for us as well. And this is just another option in our tool belt of ways to help convert. So I think when I'm chatting with brands, it's a conversation of, okay, well, what do you want to achieve? Do you want awareness? Okay, here's 8 ways that we can achieve that. Do you want users to engage with your content? Here's another 8 ways that we can achieve that. In now it's conversions, where we typically say you can do link in bios, you can do in-feed ads, stuff like that. It just adds another option to that kind of tool belt of ways to promote your services and get those conversions at the end of a campaign. So yeah, I think we'll have to wait and see how well it performs and if it outperforms the other methods that we've already used.
Yeah, and I think just one stat maybe to finish with that I did read is that TikTok users have been found as 1.7 times more likely to have purchased through the app than other apps. So I think it does show the massive potential there, and especially like you say with trends. I think just how many times a beauty product has gone viral, just to be able to be like, oh, I'll just get that straight away. I think it's a hugely exciting opportunity. But yeah, thank you guys so much for joining this month's Bytechats. It was great to hear your insights. And yeah, we'll catch up later. Thanks very much to everyone who's watched. Bye.